Hey guys, it's Emily and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button to see future videos from me. And for the rest of you, it's been a while. I haven't posted a video in over a year, but I am back now, and today I'm going to be showing you guys a fun video, at least I think it's fun, of my plant collection, or I guess you could say my succulent plant collection, because all my plants do consist of succulents. I have 6 total, and I'm really excited just to show you guys my collection. So just to give you guys a little background, a majority of my plants are actually succulents, so I guess it isn't so much a plant collection video, it's more of a succulent plant collection video. I'm a huge succulent person just because they are so easy to take care of. I mean, I like plants as well, but sometimes they just need a little bit more, they're kind of more maintenance, so I prefer the succulents. I like the way that the succulents look. So I would say I've only been collecting plants for a year and a half now. My first plant I actually got from my grandma. I would say the same thing, like a year and a half ago, and that's really what sparked it all. That was the first plant I ever got, and ever since then I've just been wanting and getting more. So I also just want to say right away, I'm not a plant expert. Everything I do and how I provide for these plants, I know that sounds really weird, I call them my little plant children, so I guess that's okay. But the way that I do things isn't probably maybe the correct way, but you know, I just listen to my plants, as weird as it is, and I just kind of watch. I know that some of them prefer more lighting, some prefer less lighting, so I distance them from the window or put them directly in the window. So all of my experience and how I've learned to take care of my individual plants has just kind of been a, you know, watch and learn experience. It's kind of just, you know, I try different things, so it's not like I'm an expert, I know exactly how to handle these plants, I just know what is kind of best for them. So I just want to say that right off the bat, and I kind of butcher the names a lot when I buy plants. I don't typically look at the name and right away do research in the store. I kind of just know it's a succulent, know that, you know, it needs light, doesn't need that much water, and I pretty much go from there. So I have done some research and actually looked into the names of these plants and kind of like have seen other ones to see if I'm doing things a little bit right or just doing things right. So I have done some research, but some of these succulents have really interesting long names, so I'm probably gonna butcher them, but that's okay. I'll make sure to link them in the description, so that way you can go back or do more research on them if you please. So I do just want to give you guys a little overview of my plant collection, or my succulent collection, before we get into the video. This is just where I keep my plants. One kind of just sits where my coffee maker is, and then I have a designated plant stand that actually used to be a TV stand that works awesome for it, and then I have to also keep some in the window. So I'm just going to get right into the video, starting off with my very first plant. I think I mentioned it before, it was from my grandma, and she had multiple different ones. It is an aloe vera plant, and I feel like this is like a typical succulent plant that a majority of people, if they have a plant in their home, this is probably the one they have. There's lots of different kinds though, so they all look slightly different. So I'll just go ahead and show you. I'm a huge purple person, so of course this one is in a purple pot. It's a well-draining one to make sure that the soil does not hold too much moisture. So here you could see this middle huge aloe vera part, I guess, is the mother plant, and then all these other ones are all her little babies, or pups I believe they are called. I just called them my little babies. And you can see that there's multiple different sizes in there. There's a lot of bigger ones, but there's also a couple smaller ones. So if I'm being honest, this one has been through a lot. It has been through a couple moves, and I happened to drop my purse on it once. So that is kind of one of the reasons. If you kind of see here towards the bottom of the plant, the stem is kind of, I don't know, it doesn't look the greatest, but it's still thriving and actually growing really well, but just the bottom leaves of the aloe have kind of died off as it's growing new ones, which is totally normal. But I dropped my purse on it in a dorm room, and I kind of snapped a couple of the branches, and ever since then it's kind of been recovering, but it did actually really well recover. It recovered really well. This one's super easy to take care of. I only water it every once in a while when the soil gets super dry or anything. It's a very simple plant. It's nothing too crazy, but it was my first one, so I really love it, and the fact that I kept it alive pretty much was my sign to get more plants. Here is the aloe vera plant with all the little babies down below. So this isn't one of the 6 plants that I count. I tried to, one of the aloe vera babies pulled out of the soil, which is totally normal, it tends to happen. So I tried to kind of plant it in here and see if it would come back. I've never really done anything like that, and obviously that's how I got my plant from my grandma. That's exactly what she did, and it grew from there. But this one was kind of already too far gone, so I wasn't really expecting much of it. It was kind of just to see what would happen, and I still just have it in here because, like, I don't know, it's just kind of here. It's kind of doing okay, but I think it's pretty much dead. So this is just kind of one of those instances I kind of told you about that, like, I'm not an expert, but I like to experiment and just kind of see what happens. So my next two plants I actually got in pairs when I went to the store. I bought them both together. So the first one is this plant here. And if I'm being completely honest, I honestly have no idea what this plant is called. And I've done some research, and there's just so many different kinds that it could be this one, but it may not be. So I have this one in a more, like, I guess glass pot. Again, it's the well draining one. And here's a tip for you guys. Obviously when I first got this and I bought this pot for it, I didn't realize, I mean, I put the plant inside of it and I was like, oh, it's gonna fit, it's the same size. And then I brought it home and started transplanting it into this pot, and I realized, do you see how there's no space along the edges to really put the dirt or the soil into the pot? I kind of struggled with this one, and I'm surprised I even got it in here because, as you can see, it doesn't really have much room to do anything. So that's kind of something I learned. I want to make sure, and you'll see with the rest of my plants, that I have it in a bigger pot so that way I can actually mess with it. Obviously it's in here, it's been in here for over a year, so it's not really coming out, and it has grown more, and that's why it is like going over the edge now. It wasn't like that before when it was smaller. I'll insert a picture again of what it looked like when it was little, but I really like the look of this one. I don't want to stress out my plants too much, so I'm trying not to totally, you know, dump them out in front of you. But this one, I don't know, it's simple, but it's really cool. I love the leaves of this one, and this one is probably the most, like, relaxed plant I have. I really can just leave this anywhere. I have it outside of the window. Same with my other aloe vera I just showed you. I learned that it does better outside the window, and I could show you that later, my little plant setup. But this one really I can leave pretty much anywhere and just don't water it for a while, and it does good. So here's a closer look at this one. I just wanted to have you guys see it from a different perspective with me not holding it. So this next one is, again, I bought this one with the last one I just showed you. This one I have to be a little bit more careful of just because it is flowering, which I didn't realize succulents would flower, or at least I didn't think this one would when I bought it. I had bought these two together a year ago in August, or not quite a year ago, but I bought it in August, so it was past that stage of where it would flower, so I never really got to see that until this year, and it kind of freaked me out, to be honest. But I have to be really careful with this one, so I'll show you it here, but then I'll show you it in a different perspective just because I don't want to break the flower. So it is in a huge black pot. They're all kind of similar. They're just well drained plastic ones. So here's a better look of this one. I love it just because it does have that purpley magenta red tips to it, and like I said, I never knew it would flower like this. It was totally unexpected, and I noticed something small coming out of the middle of it a couple weeks ago, and ever since then it has grown to this beautiful flower. So as you can see here, they have very pretty yellow flowers, and right now this is probably my favorite plant that I have just because it is flowering and I've never seen anything like it before. And this plant is the one that I will butcher its name very much. It's a Echeveria Pulidonis, I think. Like I said, I'll put it in the video and in the description bar in case you guys want to look into it yourself. I will again post updated pictures of this, kind of how it grew to how it is now, but I honestly am obsessed with this plant. And again, it doesn't take much water. As you can see, the soil is very dry right now. I've learned with any of my plants, if you water them too much, the leaves will get very mushy and kind of gross, and that's how you know you are definitely overwatering them. So my next two plants I also bought in a pair. I'm a very indecisive person. I liked both of them, so I bought both of them, and that's just kind of what happened. So my next one is a type of jade plant. There's multiple different ones out there. I've seen a couple different names. I'll put the one that I think it might be in the description, but it's kind of hard to say because some of these jade plants, or there's like dwarf jade plants, and some of them actually flower as well, so it'd be interesting to see. Because I just recently bought this one a couple months ago during spring break, so that would be like the end of March. So this one is relatively new, so it could maybe in another year flower purple flowers, which would be really cool. I'll have to give you guys an update if it does, especially since my last plant I showed you started flowering. I mean, I'm not against maybe this one flowering, that'd be really cool. It's a type of jade plant, or what I like to call just a paddle plant. As you can see, it just has multiple different paddle-like leaves. I don't know, they're really thick when you push on them. So here you can kind of see that the tips are slightly red or pink in some of them, and you can kind of see it on the end here. But here's just a closer look at this plant. So my next plant, I have my phone out just to try and read the name for you guys. It's a Peperomia Ferreyrae. I'm probably butchering that terrible. I'll put it in the description again. But it's known as the happy bean plant. And this one, you could kind of tell where it gets its name from. The first thing my mom said when I bought this before I did research on it was that it looked like little green beans. So when I found out it's literally known as the happy green plant, that was awesome. So this one is just in a blue plastic pot. If you guys can tell by this, of all my plants, this is probably one that has struggled the most. I'm trying to still figure out what it likes. Water-wise, light-wise, soil-wise. I have them all my plants in the same type of soil. It's just a cactus soil, so I don't know if that's a problem. It's doing better than it was, but if you can tell, some of these leaves on the bottom were starting to die off. And like I said, that is kind of normal for plants, because as it's growing new leaves, it's gonna die off the old ones just because that's how it works. This plant is still doing well, but some of the leaves are just very flat and kind of dying, and it kind of lost its green color. I've done some research on it, and I'm kind of altering the plant to try and better itself. Like I said, it is looking much better now than it was before. It was way less green and kind of more dying. I had it in a different pot, and I put it in this one just to see if it would do a little bit better, and it seems like it is. So the main reason I really bought this plant is because it looked like mini palm trees, and I love palm trees. I don't know who doesn't like palm trees. So I thought they were cute little tiny palm tree looking green bean plant. So here's the closer look at this one. It just again looks like little green beans, which is awesome. And you can kind of see here what I was talking about. Just the bottom leaves aren't doing the greatest, but this plant is doing better than it was before. So now I'm finally to my last plant here that I got only a couple weeks ago, so it is new, but it seems to be doing well. It is another type of aloe vera. Obviously this one is very much different than the first one I showed you, just because there are so many different types. I tried to find the exact type of aloe vera it is, but again, it's kind of hard to do research online because so many look exactly like this and they all can grow different. One of the main reasons I got this is it honestly looks like the top of a pineapple, and who doesn't like pineapple? So I thought that's really cute just because it does look like the top of one. So this I call my pineapple plant. I really like this one just because how big it was, how it has the, I would say the mother plant in the middle, but then it has all these little babies around the outside of it, and I thought that was really cool. I love this pot. I actually got it from the dollar store, so just so you guys know, the dollar store has really nice pots that look just like all my other ones, way cheaper. But this one I haven't had a problem so much yet with watering or light or trying to figure out what exactly it likes. I just really like the look of it, same with all the rest of my plants. This is the last one I bought, and I had told myself I wouldn't buy anymore, and then I bought this one. So now I told myself no, because I already have 6 plants and they all need to come with me to California at some point, so I need to stop buying them, otherwise that's going to be a problem. So here is just the closer look. Again, like I said, it has all these little babies around the bottom, and then it's just one giant aloe vera. I love the look of this one. It has the little spikes on it, which my little one does not have. So this one is very different in every way possible. So this is also totally unrelated. This is a fake little plant inside of a cow that my grandma got me, which is absolutely amazing. For any of you who don't know, well, obviously I love plants and I love cows, so the combination of the two is just awesome. Okay, so now that I talked about all the plants, again, this is just kind of where I keep them. All the plants that are either on my little coffee table or on the TV stand prefer a little bit less light or just not as direct. On this stand at the bottom there, I keep my plant cactus soil. It's just a normal cactus soil to make sure that the water doesn't pile up in the plants. And then I have a lot of extra pots, clay pots on this middle shelf here, and same with little trays if I ever need it. I just kind of keep them, well, one, in case I get more plants, which I should not. Also, they just come in handy. You never know if you need to transplant anything. So this is a little meter that you can tell how dry or how damp the soil is, and then you could also tell how much light your plant is getting. If you put it in the window, the bar will move, and then you just stick it in your plant. So that kind of comes in handy, and I like just keeping it on the shelf there as well. So again, all the way on the left is my pineapple top plant, the happy green bean plant, my aloe, the one that I'm not sure what the name is, and then that little teacup there again was kind of like my hit or miss try of the aloe vera. And then I have this really cute sign that just says just relax today. I also got it at the dollar store, so I thought it's really cute just because it fits in with my plants. And then the windowsill over here I have the one that is flowering that I showed you guys before, and then I also have the jade plant or the paddle plant. But in this little corner is where I keep all of my plants, and again, I love my layout now. I used to have a different one where I kind of just had plants all around my room, so this works way much better with the TV stand. So I didn't want this video to be super long or anything, even though it probably is going to be a little bit long. I hope you guys enjoyed this video either way. If you have any further questions or clarification about my plants or just about plants in general, I could try to give you any feedback or any advice that I can. Again, if you know the name of these exact plants and want to give me your expertise, feel free to leave that comment down below. Like this video if you like plants or are hoping to get plants yourself, or just like the video in general. Make sure, again, you hit that subscribe button so you can see future videos from me. But I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Again, I don't know if everyone really has a passion for plants as much as I do, but I think they are either way just something really cool to look at and just see all the different plants out there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.